to the production database. So, but when I'm trying to analyze the data into my production database, it's difficult for me because the data size is bigger and it's taking a lot of time to process, right? So you're getting 500 GB in every day. So in a month, it goes up to the 15 terabytes of data. But analyzing that much of data in a database is a highly difficult thing, right? So it specifies the performance issues is one biggest thing again, right? It takes a long time to generate and run the queries. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to move the data to the Hadoop cluster so that I can able to run some queries on the data which is available in a database. Okay, so for this we have to use a component sqoop. Sqoop is a component which comes as part of the Apache umbrella. That is, it is a sub project of Hadoop. So we use sqoop to bulk data transfer, right? We use sqoop to bulk data transfer between the production database or the RDBMS to the Hadoop cluster. So what is the rule here? The data must be a database must be an RDBMS, right? So we are not going to connect to the DBMS. So always the data must be RDBMS you need to have. Okay, so from that RDBMS, we have some data is available, and we are going to import the data from the RDBMS to Hadoop cluster. Okay, so now we are going to do so applying Hadoop analytics and data processing requires loading the data into the cluster, and then we have to process the data, correct? So the thing is, first you have to get the data. Here your data source is the production database. Then what we are doing now, so with the component sqoop, we are importing the data from the production database to the Hadoop cluster. Suppose you don't have the sqoop available, consider we don't have a sqoop. Now how we have to do in a production database. Now I have to move it to the Hadoop cluster. So then what we have to do now, so we have to write a MapReduce job, right? The MapReduce job specifies how to connect to the database, and then you have to specify the different ways to retrieve the data from the RDBMS to Hadoop. Okay, we can able to that, we can able to write a MapReduce job. But when you're doing such a way, so it becomes the writing the job is a complex, and it requires huge consumption of system resources, and it takes a lot of time to process the data, and moreover the debugging is very difficult. Okay, so writing a map reduce to retrieve the data from the production database to Hadoop cluster is not a good choice. Okay, so alternate, so we have a component that is sqoop is available. So the sqoop is in the sense if you are getting the data from the SQL to Hadoop. So SQL plus Hadoop, so it is a sqoop, right? So what we are going to do now, sqoop makes users to perform import and exporting the data between SDFS and RDBMS. So what is the specialty in a sqoop? The sqoop performs bulk import, means at the one time by running the multiple mappers, we are going to retrieve the the data, right? How many rows are there, right? So that number of rows simultaneously we can import to the SDFS. Okay, so we can able to perform the bulk import. And the second one is direct input. What is a direct input? Direct input in the sense the data we can directly import the data from the production database to the SDFS. We can also import the data from the SDFS to Hive, or we can able to import the data directly to the database. It's a tricky question. Suppose in interview, they will ask you, right, how to get the structured data into the unstructured data, right? So the structured data means the data which you're having in RDBMS, unstructured data which we are using a NoSQL in a Hadoop cluster like HBase or MongoDB, right? These are the NoSQL which we are going to store the unstructured data. Got it? Now we are moving the structured data to a unstructured source, means they are getting the data from the RDBMS and loading the data into the HBase, right? So the direct input, in the sense we can directly import the data to the SDFS, and we can direct import the data to the Hive, and also if you want to get the data directly to the HBase, we can get the data directly to the RDBMS to HBase. Okay, and the data interaction. So the data interaction means when you're trying to import the data, right? So you're having MySQL, correct? So MySQL, it is a table is having a primary key, and a table is having some fields. Each field is specified with a data type, and when you're getting to the Hive is having its own data types, right? Now the compatibility between the data types. Okay, so maybe you have specified some data type in MySQL may not be available in Hive. Okay, so now we can able to see, right, how this data types conversion is taking place, right? So we have a command, sqoop code gen command is available. So with the sqoop code gen, we can able to see how the data is moving between RDBMS to SDFS, and how the data types conversion is taking place when we are getting the data from the production database to the Hadoop cluster. So these are the advantages that if you are using a sqoop. One is we can import bulk amount of data, we can directly import the data to the Hive and HBase. We can able to see how this import is taking place, right? How the fields are converted into the Hadoop data types. Okay, so we can able to see the complete step by step Java code how this import or the export is taking place. Okay, and data export, right? Fine, not only the import, right? Once the processing is done, now I want to move the data from the Hadoop cluster to RDBMS. Okay, that is export, right? So we can able to export the data too, right? With the sqoop, we can get the data from the RDBMS to SDFS, as well as we can back send the data from the SDFS to RDBMS. That's we can it as a sqoop export, right? We can able to perform both importing the data as well exporting the data between the Hadoop cluster and the RDBMS. Okay, now clear here? Any questions? Okay, sorry, it's downloaded to the downloads directory. Okay, so just go to here sqoop places and check here in the downloads page, right? Now you'll get the downloaded tarball available here. Now what we have to do next, so find out Hadoop home, right, where all the Hadoop components are available, right? In my system, it is a cd slash usr slash lib is the Hadoop home, right? So you can see that, right, all the Hadoop related components are available, right? HBase, hcatalog, Hive, right? So now I want to configure sqoop in this place. Okay, what I want to do, I want to configure sqoop here. So now what you have to do, you have cd downloads, is entered ls. Now you can able to see the tarball. Just copy the file. Before that you must be in a root user, so login with su, enter the password cloudera. Okay, now you are in a root user. Now copy command, right? Copy, which one you have to copy? Sqoop tarball you have to copy. Where you have to copy? Hadoop home, that is user slash lib slash, right? Enter. Now this file is copied to the sqoop direct, copy to the user lib directory, right? After that, what you have to do now, you have to install it, right? You have to configure it, right? So once the file is available here, then okay, you have to run the command tar, okay, hyphen xvf. Okay, then write the tarball name. Okay, then automatically this particular file is going to be extracted, and you will get a directory here with the name. So once you extracted this, you'll get a directory with the name sqoop. So get into the cd sqoop, right? ls. Now that sqoop is going to be configured here, right? So all the sqoop configuration files are available into the conf directory. So if you go to the cd conf, okay, ls, so we'll have the sqoop configuration file. So what it is, sqoop hyphen site.xml, right? If you go open the sqoop hyphen site.xml, now we can able to see the configurations related to the sqoop. Okay, you can open this in a text editor, sqoop hyphen site.xml. Okay, so this is the sqoop configuration file. Okay, right? So ls cd data ls, if you go to the cd bin directory, now we'll have the executables available here, right? So we can use the command sqoop, sqoop code gen, sqoop eval, sqoop import, sqoop job, right? So it's available here. So you can if you want to import, then use sqoop import. If you want to export the data, then use sqoop export, right? If you want to run a sqoop if you want to run a query from the sdfs terminal, then use sqoop eval, right? So we are going to work with all these commands. Okay, otherwise if your sqoop is configured or not, just take a terminal. If you write sqoop space help, press enter, then you can able to see the commands which comes with the sqoop, right? If you get the screen, your machine is configured with a cube. And if you want to check the version of this cube, then write cube space version. Okay, so now here I am using this cube version 1.4.3 in a cdh 4.4.0. So in this way you have to configure the cube. Okay, now, right, once this cube is configured, now what we are going to do now, with this cube we are trying to connect to the RDBMS, and we have to retrieve the data from the RDBMS. Okay, which RDBMS? Right? Sqoop supports maximum any databases. By default, Sqoop supports MySQL, Postgre, Teradata, Oracle, DB2. It's a SQL Server, HSQLDB, right? So whatever the database are available, so we have a connector is available to connect to the databases, right? We use what? We use a sqoop connector. Okay, so we have to get the sqoop connected to connect to the database. Suppose if there is a database is there, right? So if the connector is available, then we can able to connect to the database. If the connector is not available, then we have to write this manually sqoop connector program to connect to that particular database. So now, so if we have to get the sqoop connector, now each database is having its own connector, right? Here I have given you the link. Suppose I want to use MySQL database. Okay, then you have to get the MySQL connected. Okay, so now, so MySQL is available here, Oracle connected, so it's a SQL server connector, right? You have to download the connector and you have to copy this. Okay, so every database, either every RDBMS, either it can be MySQL or Oracle. So what we need to have to connect to these databases, we need to have a connector. So how to get the connector? So each database they are providing the connectors, so you have to download the connector. Okay, so go to, suppose you are trying to connect to the Teradata, where your database is a Teradata, then see you can able to find the Teradata connector for the Hadoop. Okay, so now which version Hadoop you are using? Suppose you are using Hadoop 2.0 onwards, now you will get, say, Teradata connector for Hadoop. Okay, so then download, then you have to download this connector. Okay, so after downloading this connector, you have to copy it to the sqoop home, right? No need to do. how to configure the sqoop connector means download the connector and copy the connector to a sqoop home. That's it. Now you can able to connect it to a database. Okay, so either it can be Teradata or it can be a MySQL or it can be a Oracle. Right now we have the different connectors they are giving, right? So these are the MySQL connector, uh, right, provided MySQL. So it's you can see the Oracle JDBC connector in the Oracle website. Okay, so that's we need to have a connectors, right? So why we use these connectors? So connectors are used to connect to a database. Okay, we use the connectors to connect to RDBMS.
So these installing scope and everything is Hadoop admin's job or developer's job or
It's not a developer, it's not admin, it's both by the everyone. No, it's a common, right? Sometimes you have to import, you don't have the scoop is available, so you can't wait for the admin, right? So you need to do. Okay, but
okay,
I can say
okay.
this comes purely into the admin role, right? Configuring this cube, all these things. Okay, because you don't have the privileges. The first thing is being a you don't have the privileges to configure and access. Only admin will have the privileges to
So
configure it.
is this the configuration in the big clusters in the company's clusters also the same, or are they any different from this which you shown us?
uh, didn't get you, Prithvi.
No, even in the big companies, the installation of scoop is like this only, or it changes.
It changes, right? Here it's not specified the client side, it's same for every client. It's a skew, right? How it will be differentiated to the big client or the small client is a client.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
okay. So now we have to get the connector to the connector to RDBMS. So once the connector is available, okay, so this connector uses a JDBC connection, okay, to connect to the connector. So now whenever you are trying to run with a scoop, so we have to specify the scoop, then we have to specify the scoop command. Okay, specify the scoop command and then you have to write the connection string. Okay, just write scoop space scoop command, then write the connection string. Okay, I'm going to show you by running some queries. Okay, so I'm taking the two terminals. In one terminal I want to start the MySQL, so I'm using MySQL hyphen u space root hyphen p. Okay, so the password is root. Now I have started the MySQL. Okay, so to see the databases, show databases, right? So to connect to your database, use test. So right now I'm in the test database. To see the tables, show tables. Okay, right now this is a MySQL terminal. Now I can able to see what are the databases are available here, what are the tables. Okay, now I'm taking other terminal for the sqoop. Okay, now from this sqoop terminal I want to see what are the databases are available in MySQL. Okay, so if you write sqoop space help, we'll get the sqoop commands, the available sqoop commands, right? So one is the sqoop code gen, so it will generate a Java code where we can able to see how this import and exporting process is taking place. Okay, we can directly import the records to the hive by using create hive table. Okay, eval is used to run a query on the MySQL from the SDFS terminal. Export is used to export the data from the SDFS to RDBMS, right? Import is used to import the data from the RDBMS to SDFS. Import all tables will import all the tables in a database to the SDFS. We can able to run a job with this sqoop job command to see what are the databases are available. The command is sqoop list databases.
Generally,
Let me complete.
generally, if you
Just a second, Prithvi. Now, to see the tables in a database, we run the command sqoop list tables. Okay, only these commands are available. Okay, with the sqoop only these commands are available. Right, now I want to see what are the databases are available. Okay, so simple. Now see how I am writing the connection string. Okay, uh, yes, Prithvi. Okay, mysql colon slash slash, where mysql is available, write it is localhost. Okay, sqoop import, write the connection string. Right, now what is the database you are trying to connect to? The database name is test. And which table you are trying to import? Write the table name, that is my ssd. Okay, how many number of mappers you want to use? One mapper. Press enter. Okay, now it will try to import the records to the SDFS from the MySQL. Right, it retrieved 452 records. Okay, need to weaken. Hello. Yes, Abhishek, Prithvi.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
No, no.
what?
Actually, just a second, please. It's a network issue. I have completely disconnected from the net. Okay, so not you.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, fine. Right. So I have issue with the
Yeah.
network. Right to just now. So our power is also not there. Fine. So I'm running on the battery. Okay. So I'll try to end. Now see what we did. It retrieved 452 records. Okay.
No, I lost the connection at JDBC.
Okay, right. I'll run the command again. So what we connection string here, right? JDBC. Okay, sqoop. Then write the command co and then ect as a keyword for the connection string. Connect. So I want to connect through JDBC. So just write connect JDBC colon MySQL colon slash slash. Right. So where MySQL is available here, it's available in a local host. Okay, so write the local host, then write the database name test, and then space. What is the table name? Write the table name here. Right, the table name I'm going to import is my SSD. Correct. Okay, then write the my SSD. Right, now how many mappers I want to run? Write the number of mappers. Here I want to run one mapper, so I'm going to write hyphen m. Okay, so now I'm going to run this command. Press enter. Okay, now see what it did. So it retrieved 452 records to the SDFS, right? To see this, whenever we are going to import, the sqoop will create a directory. So which direct it will create? What is the table name in the MySQL? With the same name, it is going to create a directory, right? So the table name is here, right? What is the table name? My SSD. So it is going to create a directory with the table name. Now we can see a directory is going to be created. It's with the name my SSD, right? My SSD. Okay, now we got the one part file, right? So it's imported as a part file. Then run the command hadoop space fs-cat, then write the part hyphen m hyphen 0000, press enter. Okay, some right, this we have right here my ssd slash, press enter. Okay, so in this way we are going to import the rows from the rdbms to hadoop cluster. Okay, Prithvi, clear now?
Yeah.
Right, it's only what is a sqoop import. We'll have multiple
So,
parameters are there. Again we have we'll discuss different ways of sqoop import. Okay, so just I'm going to show you how we are getting the data from the rdbms to sdfs. Is only the some test query this one, right? Again we discuss in tomorrow session about the different ways of sqoop import. Okay, 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 Prithvi, Santosh.
yeah, okay. So why did you take two terminals? One
What?
for scoop and one for HDFS.
Yes, one for sqoop and one for HDFS. So that it's easy. So I
Can't you
can't.
run it in one terminal?
You can run in one terminal. Suppose now I have all these things. Now see how much difficult it is if you go through everything in one terminal, right? We have see now I learn sqoop here. Okay, something like this, right? Then again SDFS to check this. So everything is available in one place, right? It will be a little bit zigzag. So what the best habit is, use each table, each terminal for its own, right? So this is completely sqoop, so we can scroll, we can able to find out error, right? So it's completely sqoop is available. right? Then take another terminal where you can check the SDFS. We can able to do everything in one terminal, but it's a issue with the sometimes navigation, right? If you want to go with a scroll back, it's a difficult to find. Okay, right? See now, I'm in a some terminal. I want to see what are the database are available in MySQL. Okay, just run the command sqoop space list hyphen the databases. The command is sqoop list databases. Okay, then write the connection string, connect jdbc colon, right, which where is the database name MySQL colon slash slash where MySQL is available localhost. Press enter. Okay, see now these are the databases available in MySQL. Now I want to see what are the tables that are there in the test database. The command is sqoop list tables. Okay, so the command is sqoop list tables, will list the tables in a database, right? Localhost, then right here the database name. Okay, so these are the tables which are there in a database test. Okay, got it? Prithvi, Santosh, Srikant.
Yeah, yes, Ajay.
So Ajay, why do you use for listing tables in database? Why are you using sqoop? Why can't you use direct ls tables or something?